So, Coach, just coming off of back-to-back road weekends, what type of challenge is that, and then how good is it to be back at PAC?
It's surprisingly with our group, they actually don't find the road piece a challenge. They deal with it really, really well. I think we're actually a better team on the road than we are at PAC. So, but it's nice to be home. It's nice to get the feet back on the ground here and prepare at home, preparing our own beds, all those different pieces. So, yeah, ready for a good weekend.
Quality opponent, obviously. I mean, what kind of challenge is that big? Is Stanford going to present?
Two quality opponents. That's a Pac-12 though. It's every weekend. I said this yesterday to Joey. They've set the standard for so many years now in our conference, and set the standard nationally as well. And some of the players that they've had, and players playing at the next level, and that entire piece. So, as always, technically going to be very good, athletic, organised, really well coached. So they'll cause, they'll challenge us in every one of the departments.
The last time Stanford was in PAC, I believe, was the only win that Oregon's gotten over that program. So how much does that factor into this confidence coming into this game?
I don't think it factors anything into it. It was a completely different team that played them. It was in a COVID year, and it was a really good performance for us. I think that performance alone maybe changed the trajectory of the program pretty quickly. But it's a new team. They're a new team. They've got new players. They probably play a slightly different way. We play a slightly different way now as well. So it's about us being the best version of this year's team, and we'll see where it goes from there.
What type of challenge do the Cardinal provide?
Like I said, they've got depth up high. They've athletic in the wide areas, very good technically. So when they're in possession, they're going to be very good. When they're out of possession, they're going to be organised. So whether it's when we have the ball, when they have the ball, they're going to be an organised unit.
The team came into this year wanting to make the postseason.
Yeah.
How do you feel about your position right now, and kind of what needs to happen these next few weeks?
When I look at that, I have to give all credit to our kids, because we spoke about it at length in terms of I think someone told me the other day we started 22 different players this season in terms of lineups. So we've been all over the map in terms of week to week, getting players back healthy and players going down. And so for our kids to have even put themselves in a position here going into the last 3 weekends of the season where if we can take care of business and get above that 500 line, then I think we have a pretty good shot.
As you mentioned, obviously well into the Pac-12 season, do you feel like that sense of urgency is there where every game means something to this team and they get up for them?
Well, I think whenever you're in the Pac-12, every game, no matter the year, like I said, the fact that we've set ourselves up to be in a good position, I think, this is 3 years on the bounce. The past 2 years, first year we were on the bubble, probably on the wrong side of the bubble. Last year I think it's a flip of a coin whether we go or not into the postseason. So this season, we feel as though if we can get above that 500 mark with who we have left on the schedule, then, like I said, we'll be in a good place for it.
It is a chance to help yourselves in terms of RPI and things like that.
Yeah.
You probably don't want to get too caught up in big picture thinking like that, but can it be a motivator as well?
It's game to game. You can't look past any game in this conference. Stanford, obviously, typically go to the Final Four every other year. Cal had the #1 recruiting class in the nation last year. So, we've got to look at Stanford, worry about Stanford, plan for Stanford, and then once we get past that game, then switch our attention to Cal and just go game to game.
Your team's getting outshot by 2.5 times on the season as a whole. You've talked about quality of shot playing a factor. Yeah. How much of being outshot is tactical versus just the other team controlling possession and controlling shots?
I think we get, it's where they're shooting from, and it's the type of shot that they're taking. If you let everyone shoot from 15 feet behind the three-point arc, you'd probably be okay. I'm not a basketball coach, but I'm assuming you'd be okay with that. And again, you ride the players you've got. We feel as though our goalkeepers can handle stuff from that range. The possession piece right now, I get that piece in terms of us, other teams are having the ball. We want to control where they have the ball, what type of passes they're playing. If they're side-to-side passes, they're not hurting us. If they're obviously playing passes through us, then that's one thing. But you know, we feel as though we can defend the 18-yard box well. We feel as though, like I said, we can defend those shots from outside the 18-yard box. So we're not overly concerned about that piece. I think if you look at conversion rate on chances, we're up there in the 35-40% on conversion rate, and that's what we want to be at.
Trinity, she got a goal this weekend. How have you seen her play on the pitch?
I can't say too much. She sat right over there, so I'm not together. No, listen, she's, you know, I just asked her then. I said, you know, did you expect to play this much coming into your first year? And she said, well, I didn't expect to go from 0 to 100 so quick. But she's adapted so well. You know, we've asked so much of these you know, this freshman class in terms of being able to come and play major minutes right away. When you're hoping that you can start to bring them along slowly and get them out of games, but some of them are playing, you know, 70, 80 minutes a game, and so it's incredible what they're doing for the team. And then, you know, our upperclassmen in terms of making sure that they're mentoring them as well and helping them along, and they've done a really good job as the season's gone by in terms of mentoring these young players, and Trinity's one of them, and yeah, she's done really well this season.
A lot of that playing time is circumstantial due to injuries and stuff like that, but how much does that sort of build a base for your program moving forward in the coming years with freshmen getting so much playing time?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're always going to play the best players, you know, and it's but we want to protect them as well. You know, I think jumping from youth soccer into a conference like the Pac-12, you know, we're one of the top 2 conferences in the country, so you know that's a considerable jump. So you want to protect them a little bit as well, but it's awesome for the future of the program that they get those minutes so quickly, and them doing so well with it as well. You know, it's one thing to give them the minutes and what type of minutes they are, but they're getting minutes in major moments and important games, and that experience is going to be huge. And now they've got to share those experiences in future years with the freshman classes that come underneath them as well.
Sort of heading into this back end stretch, how is sort of your message changed then, you know, from what it was in the beginning of the year?
It hasn't really. It's game to game. You know, we've got to prepare the way that we prepare. We've got to try and be the best version of us. That version of us has changed multiple times based on, you know, with personnel and having to shift shapes and things like that. And so, but no, it's just preparation from game to game and trying to be the best version of ourselves.
Do you feel like you guys are playing at the level that you pictured or you wanted to be playing at this point in the season?
We've changed. We've had to have changed. You know, we don't have as much personnel up top, higher up the field. So we've got to be a little bit more restrained with those guys, just from a standpoint of, you know, we don't have replacements for the front line. So we've got to rein them back in a little bit. So that piece has changed a little bit. But we're defending well. You know, as always, we want to be better with the ball. You know, you said, you know, we are being outpossessed at times, so we do have to get better with the ball. But you know, from an overall team perspective, in terms of being able to grind results and being the vision that I had when we took over this program as being a team who had a ridiculous work ethic about us, then we're right on point.
Caitlyn got her first action during this road stand. What have you seen from her and her health and how it's translated to the pitch?
You know, she's, you know, it's been a long road back for Caitlyn, you know, and so our number one job is protecting her. You know, if she wants, she's got a future after this. So we've got to make sure we just bring her back slowly. But she's adapted well. I mean, you know, it's tough to jump right, you know, for your first games back, jumping right into a Pac-12, middle of a Pac-12 season. So she's adjusted well, and we just want to keep nudging her along to make sure, number one, we're getting the best out of her in these last few games.